What's good, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Tamron 28 to 75mm f2.8 G2. So this is the upgrade of the already existing and popular 28 to 75mm version 1. This was very popular among photographers and videographers, and in this video today I want to talk about this lens specifically geared towards video, because I saw a lot of it about photos and I'm mainly going to use this for video. As a little disclaimer here, I was not paid to do this review, so thanks a lot to Perrault Image here in Switzerland for sending me a copy of this lens, which I get to keep after the review. They've always been amazing, so big shout out to them. Alright, let's first start with the size. This lens is 10 grams less with only 540 grams. It's amazing because they upgraded it, they added a bunch of functions, they improved the glass and so forth, and they managed to shave off 10 grams, which is pretty cool. In terms of filter thread, we have a 67mm filter thread, which is great because most of my filters have that diameter. It has a better handling thanks to the better texture on the zoom and the focusing ring. It has a better resistance to abrasion on the outer barrel, so around here. Time will tell. I can't tell you yet if this makes a huge difference or not. It does feel very nice in the hands when you want to zoom or when you want to change the aperture or the focusing. It now has a function button right here as well as a USB-C port. If you're asking yourself if you can use it with weather resistance even though there's a USB-C port open here, yes you can. It is not going to change anything on the rating. It is made to withstand humidity and or dusty environments. The fact of having a USB-C, it's also great because you can upgrade the lens without the need of a body or even a separate console. The optical construction is being optimized to be compatible with Sony's latest highest resolution mirrorless cameras, such as the Sony A7Siii, which I have right here. And it consists of 17 elements in 15 groups. So that's for the technical side and aspect of things. It has a constant f2.8 maximum aperture with an iris of 9 blades, which gives you in turn a very soft bokeh. In fact, the background gets very nice and blurry, and it really gives a good transition between the bokeh, so the blurry part of the shot, and the nice and crisp, sharp part. So this is something that I noticed right away in this lens, and it looks really pleasing. This has Tamron's B-bar or BBAR, or however you want to pronounce this, I'm not sure, but it means broadband anti-reflection, which is basically a coating that gets applied internally to remove reflections, and it also has a fluorine coated surface in front of the lens, which basically is used to remove moisture and dust as much as possible, which helps with the weather resistance, so it is welcome. The autofocus is fast. It is faster. It now has the VXD linear motor focus mechanism. Okay, this is a mouthful, but what it means basically is that it is twice as fast, or so they claim, as the first generation when you do a focusing with autofocus with your camera from the minimum distance to infinity. The minimum focus distance is now 2 centimeters closer, with 17 centimeters as its minimum distance. This is great. We're talking only 2 centimeters, which is about this much, but it is great because I like to get close to my subjects. I like to get close sometimes when I'm doing a project for a client, when I'm shooting B-roll and so on and so forth. I like to be able to see details, and having those 2 centimeters is always something better. Obviously, it's not a deal breaker versus or compared to the first generation, but still it's there. Now, in terms of weather resistance, which I mentioned earlier, you will not have any problem because it has 7 rubber seals against any potential moisture and or dust. So if you have a body, Sony body, that has weather resistance and you combine it with this lens, they're gonna do a great job. Now, like its predecessor, the lens builds OIS, so it's not stabilized. So you might want to use steady shots in your Sony camera, which is something that helps, that adds some more stabilization, especially when you're doing vlogging. But when we talk about vlogging, this is a 28mm. It is not a 24mm. 28 is great, but when I shoot with my Sony, I usually keep my hand very, very extended like this in order to be able to see myself well enough. Obviously, when you pair these two together, let's say you add a cage or you add a mic on top or whatever, it's going to just add and add and add weight. So unless you're very well built, you are going to start feeling the weight at the end of your arm. And that can be a little bit of a problem. So you can use it, it's totally fine, but just think with that when you're using a 28mm on a lens like this. If you want to do exclusively vlogging, I would go for a 24mm. In terms of price, we're at $900, which I think is great value for money. So who is this lens for? I think it's a great lens for someone on the go, someone who wants to work on a project, and either if you're alone or if you don't have time to swap different lenses and you need different focal lengths, or even if you don't have enough money or don't want to spend all this money into glass, you can buy this and it will give you all these focal lengths with a great aperture. It is also great for someone who's traveling, etc., etc. It is very versatile, basically. So this is my last video using the GH5S because I'm now going to go onto the Sony setup with this lens. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited about it. I did some tests. I recorded a video on my Italian channel with this lens, and to be honest, it is a blast. So there, I hope I answered any and all questions you might have about this new version of the 28 to 75mm by Tamron. If you have any other question, feel free to write in the comment section below. Let me know if you own the first generation, if you're going to buy the second generation, if you think it's worth the update to this new lens. And I see you and catch you in my next video. Take care.